lecturer, Mr. Shah, and also to my beloved classmates. Today, in this lovely day, in this magnificent hall, I would like to give a speech about why we should ban the use of corporal punishment in school. So before going through the argument or the reason of why we should ban the use of corporal punishment in school, I would like to give a brief explanation or brief history of the word corporal punishment itself. So corporal punishment can be defined as an act of inflicting physical pain as a part of punishment for doing anything wrong inside or outside the classroom. Corporal punishment is equivalent to the physical torture. Such punishment could be in the form of beating, caning, whipping, or even thrashing. Since the culture of modern schooling began, the problem of corporal punishment is a common feature in every school from around the world. Several incidents of such punishment, for example, in our country, in Malaysia, the death of our elder brother Takif Amin after being beaten by his religious teacher, is widely reported by various domestic news and also being reported by international news. So today I bring a copy about the case that has been reported by the New Straits Times. As it been reported by the New Straits Times that the cause of the death of Takif Amin is because the abuse that has been made by his religious teacher. So nowadays there are a lot of countries had started to ban the use of corporal punishment in school. However, while there are also countries whereby the practice is still legal, for example Indonesia, and also there are countries whereby the practice is being banned partially. So for example, in Singapore, in our neighbour country, the practice is only legal if the practice is conduct towards the gentleman, and if he or she conduct the practice towards the woman, he or she may be subject to a hefty fine or may face imprisonment. So going through my first argument on why we should ban the use of corporal punishment in school is because it is against the human right. So the problem is deep and serious. As part of their daily life, children from all around the world are being spanked, slapped, hit, and battered by the adults, mostly by those whom they trust most, in this case, the teachers itself. The violence may be a deliberate act of punishment or just the impulsive reaction of an irritated teacher. In every case, in all cases, it is a breach of fundamental human rights. Respect for human dignity and the right for physical integrity are universal principles. Yet, social and legal acceptance of hitting and other humiliating treatment in countries persists in most countries around the world. The practice of corporal punishment is often inhumane and degrading. And it always violates their physical integrity and disrespect for human dignity and undermines self-esteem. Furthermore, the existence of special exceptions of violence against children is actually an assault and thus breach the fundamental principle of equal protection under the law. Children have had to wait until the last to be given equal legal protection from deliberate assault, a protection that most of us take for granted, and And these are the invention of concepts such as reasonable chastisement and lawful correction in the law arises from the perception of the children as a property of the parents. And when the parents give their blessing to the teachers believe that they have the right or even the duty to hit the child. So we do nowadays talk about human rights also for children. Children are not anymore half person that comes with a limited numbers of rights. The change of attitude can be seen with the International Human Rights Treaty to happen. For example, the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, or simply known as the CRC. So here, this is the logo of the CRC. The duty of the CRC is to protect and to enact binding law that will protect the children from violence and protect the children's right for physical integrity and human dignity. So going through to the second argument on why we should ban the use of corporal punishment in school, because it negatively affects the development of the students. So a professor named Professor Donald from Michigan State University, he persistently asserted that approximately half of the students who are subject to corporal punishment may develop an illness called EIASD, or known as emotionally induced post-traumatic disorder. So In this disorder, the symptoms is analogous to the post-traumatic disorder (PTSD). Just like PTSD, EAPSD can be identified by a varying combination of depression and anxiety. This mental health imbalance is induced by significant stress. With EAPSD, the significant stress is the inflicted punishment. Such victimized students can have difficulty sleeping, the feeling of sadness and worthlessness, suicidal thoughts, anxiety episodes, and many other negative effects towards the development of the students. So, and also the professor further pointed out, based on his research, the use of corporal punishment construct an environment of education that can be described as unproductive, nullifying, and punitive. Children become the victim, and the feeling of fear that something bad might happen is introduced to all the students in such a classroom. Even to those students who are never being subject of such abuse or never become the victims of corporal punishment, their full learning potential had been robbed. Both the students, either the victims or the witnesses of such abuse, can develop low self-esteem, magnified guilt feeling, and also various anxiety symptoms. Such results can have baneful results in the educational and psychological of these students. So people speaking in the favor of corporal punishment might say that this form of punishment is good because it will help the students to differentiate what is right and what is wrong, and to make the students to become more civilized person. But there is no scientific proof or statistical proof that shows that the use of corporal punishment will make the students become more disciplined. And if you beat a child up, he can only fear you and he can never respect you. And how can you teach a child to be civilized when you yourself and the act itself is being uncivilized? And if you beat a child up, he can only fear you and he can never respect you. There should be a relation of respect between the teachers and the students. And the teachers should teachers might say that this form of punishment will make the students become more disciplined and start respect their teachers. However, as has been said by the famous human rights activist Martin Luther King, respect is always earned. You cannot enforce it. And the use of corporal punishment will also hamper the students' creativity as well as their learning process, as it will a student who is not free to think and question can never come up with new ideas and thoughts, and it will make it difficult for the students to concentrate in his studies due to the fearful environment. And in conclusion, we should ban the use of corporal punishment in school due to it will create negative effect to the development of students, and also it is against the human right. And before I would like to end my speech, I would like to share a famous quote from a famous independence leader from India, Mahatma Gandhi. He said that I object violence because I object violence when I object violence because when sorry, I forgot the word. I think that's all from me. Thank you for listening.